everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name's Christina and today is a get ready with me. So in today's get ready with me, I'm obviously getting ready. I was about to say in today's get ready with me, I'm getting ready. Obviously, jeez. Okay, sip of my coffee because brain is not functioning. So I figured in today's get ready with me, we would talk about some stuff, we would chit chat, which is usually how my get ready with me's go. I don't really talk about the makeup very much at all. I will mention a few of these products while I'm getting ready though, because they are new products, so I just want to kind of talk to you guys while I'm doing it. But otherwise, we're just going to be talking about some other stuff. So I think today's topic, just overarching, is going to be just music and how it's applied to my life. Because a few get ready with me's back, I talked about how music was a really big part of my life and how I've always been really into music. And I've talked about video games here now, I've talked about music, which I think those two parts of my life are pretty big and like a pretty big part of like who I am as a person. And so today we're going to be talking about music and how it has progressed throughout my life. We're going to start from the first CD I ever owned, and we're going to talk about a lot of the memories I have associated with music. Now I do have a lot of music related stories because music's such a big part in my life, but I'll try to keep them minimal so I'm not spending an hour getting ready. So before I jump into actually getting ready, definitely make sure to hit that subscribe button because I do upload every single day, Monday through Friday. I do upload at random times, so just make sure to hit that bell notification. And now without further ado, let me actually just start getting ready. I forgot to put on SPF yesterday, which was okay because I only left the house to walk Wallace, so I guess it wasn't that bad, but I am remembering today. We're putting on SPF. But basically, I just wanted to tell you guys like all of the music related stories. Like I said, music had such like a big part in my life, and this may not be interesting to a lot of you guys, but a lot of you guys have sent me messages like on Instagram. Whenever I post music, you guys are really interested in it, and a lot of you guys have similar tastes to me, which I feel like a lot of us who are around like the same age kind of probably listen to a lot of the same music. So for me, it's a lot of fun to like hear stories about like how music is related to people's lives and like really cool stories related to music. So this stuff is interesting to me. I'm sorry if it's not too interesting to you or you don't know any of the music that I'm gonna be talking about. I'm gonna try and keep it more story based, I think, today. But I remember the first CD I ever owned was a gift from my parents, I think for my birthday. I'm pretty sure it was for my birthday when I was like 7 or 8, and it was Backstreet Boys. I was such a fan of Backstreet Boys. Backstreet Boys was actually the first concert I ever went to. I think I was in 5th grade or 4th grade when we went. It was such a monumental moment for me in my life to go to that concert that I still remember what I was wearing. Like, I don't remember what I wore yesterday, but I somehow still remember what I was wearing at that concert. I had this little gray t-shirt on with a vintage Beetlebug van on it with like psychedelic peace signs and stuff. It was very 90s, but I remember wearing it. I'm pretty sure I was wearing like jean shorts, like very typical bootcut 90s style jean short or jean. Was it jean shorts? Might have been like full-length pants. I don't remember that part, but I do remember the shirt like vividly. I'm pretty sure I had butterfly clips in my hair because, again, hello, it was the 90s. But I remember that was my first concert, and I think it just kind of stuck with me, and I got like slightly addicted to it. Are you guys kind of far away from me? Let me zoom you in a little bit. There we go. It's like we're hanging out really close now. Maybe that's too close. I can't. That's better. That memory to me is just so strong of going to that concert. When I was at that concert, it was Nick's birthday. Yeah, it was Nick's birthday, and I just remember like the entire stadium saying happy birthday to him, and they passed around cake to like the people in the front, which I was very disappointed I was not in the front because I wanted some freaking cake. Jeez. It's so violent. Why? Oh, stop. Then after that, I remember I didn't really branch out on music too much then. I listened to NSYNC, obviously. Like, if you listen to one boy band, you listen to them all. But Backstreet Boys and NSYNC were my thing. I really liked Britney Spears back in the day. I wasn't as much a Christina Aguilera fan, but I think it's mainly because people constantly would call me Christina Aguilera, so it got really annoying. So I wasn't really that much of a Christina fan. But I did definitely listen to the Backstreet Boys, NSYNC, 98 Degrees, and Britney Spears. Like, those were the top ones. And then my parents were really into like country music, and that was like when Alan Jackson was really big. I wasn't really into it. I've never really been into country music just generally. I don't know why, I just can't get into it. I don't relate to what they sing about or anything. Not that I really related to, you know, falling in love in elementary school, but you know. And then I remember getting to middle school, and middle school was where things just started opening up to me. And I remember the next CD I got was actually a burned CD from one of my like new friends. So the middle school that I ended up going to was outside of the district that my elementary school was, so I didn't know anyone in 6th grade when I started. I was completely like the new kid, which technically I guess we were all new kids, but I didn't really have friends yet because I had started going to this school where no one really knew me. And one of my like newfound friends on like the first week of school brought me a burned CD of Linkin Park, and it was the first Linkin Park CD, and she brought me a burned version of it and told me to listen to it. And that's when I started getting into like more alternative music. I remember listening to it and being like so confused about like, what is this music? Like, is this even music? Why are they yelling at me? I remember being so confused and so intrigued, and that is where I started being like getting more into like alternative music and trying to research music more. I was trying to figure out like, how do you burn CDs and like make mix CDs for people. I was a little bit past the age of like mixed tapes, but we did occasionally still make mixed tapes, but mixed CDs were like the thing to do when you liked somebody, you made them a mixed CD. So I made a lot of mixed CDs for boys in my time. I actually received a lot of mixed CDs from boys in my time, and some of them, if they were garbage, I didn't like them anymore. That's how I based all of my relationships in middle school, if I liked your mixed CD or not. Welcome to the early 2000s. Oh man, good times. I wish people still did that. I guess now we just make Spotify playlists for each other. Is that the same thing? It's not quite as romantic. There was always something about getting like a mixed CD handed to you from somebody, like a friend or someone you liked, or giving it to someone you liked, or making like your friend a mixed CD for their birthday because at that time you thought your musical taste was superior to all other people's musical tastes, so you just needed to share these bands with people, or share that one song that means a lot to you, and it will obviously always mean a lot to someone else too listening. Oh man, simpler times. I miss those days sometimes. But yeah, so middle school was basically just me kind of figuring it out. I started listening to a lot more like alternative music, but it wasn't really until high school that like I had like made up my mind about like my musical taste. Oh, and the first CD I ever purchased on my own, because the Backstreet Boys was like the first CD I ever owned myself, but the first CD I ever actually went out and bought with my own money was Maroon 5 Songs About Jane, which I think was in 8th grade for me. That would have been 2002, 2003, I believe. That was the first CD I ever bought on my own, and I remember being so proud of it, and I remember my mom hating it that I had that CD because, I mean, obviously if you listen to that album, even now, I mean, those songs still play on the radio even now. And if you listen to some of those songs, that's not anything I think a 12-year-old should listen to, but I mean, honestly, things that 12-year-olds know now is like way beyond me. So, I mean, I don't know anything. But yeah, my mom didn't like it because he's, you know, obviously was singing about like sex and stuff. But I mean, eventually you would learn. So that was kind of like where my musical taste was going, was like towards the Maroon 5-y Linkin Park route. And then in high school, I went through my "it's not a phase, mom, I'm just now an emo" phase, and it was totally a phase. Don't you love it when you look back in retrospect and you're like, oh, your parents were right. It was a phase, so shut up. It's a phase. Let me do my eyebrows real quick and I'll come right back. I can't talk and do my eyebrows, as you guys know. Okay, eyebrows on. So like I was saying, so then high school comes around and you go through your "it's not a phase, mom, but it's totally a phase" moment, and where you base all of your friendships based on the fact that you're judging everyone for their music taste. So all of your friends are made because you listen to the same music and you are musically superior to everyone. Or at least that was the case for me in high school. Is it shallow? Absolutely. I was a little in high school, so it really shouldn't surprise anyone. So yeah, I based a lot of my friendships that I made in high school on musical taste. I also tried to, you know, extend my musical superiority over people because clearly my taste was better than anyone's. I was a music elitist, yes. And I have luckily grown out of that. I feel like I was a musical elitist all through college as well, so it was something that like stayed with me for a very long time. I'm not really proud of it, but I've gotten to the point now in my life where I realize that musical is like a very individual journey and it's a very individual take on things. Like some people relate to things more than others, or relate to situations more than others. People go through different experience, and therefore some music will speak to them more than others. So I don't try to bash anyone for their music taste anymore, but high school me was not like that. Like I would bash you for your musical taste, or well, not bash you directly because I was way too shy to do that, but I would definitely judge you, deeply judge you, be confused about how you could listen to trash, in my opinion. Again, high school me, not me now. So then in freshman year, so I was 14 years old freshman year, I went to my first concert that I ever picked to go to myself. Like it was the first time I ever bought tickets, and it wasn't really a concert, it was definitely a small band at the time, and they're still together now, but like the band members have changed so much. And some of you will probably know who the lead singer was at this point in my life, but I went and saw the band from first to last. Don't know who opened for them. They were the headliner band at the time. And a lot of you may know who the lead singer was at this time, and it would have been Skrillex. Yes, I said that correctly. Sonny Moore, the dude who's Skrillex, was the lead singer of this group. So I met him when I was 14, and I was utterly surprised at how short he was. I mean, that's no tea, no shade, because it was just facts. I remember being very surprised about it, but that was the first band I ever went to see by myself. I went with my best friend at the time and her mom, because obviously we were 14. And that was my first experience around anything that resembled a mosh pit, and I was literally hypnotized. That was when it all went downhill for me, and my wallet, and my face, because I got hit in the face more times than I would like to admit from a mosh pit. Honestly, the fact that I've never broken my nose or anything like that is beyond me. I don't know how that's not happened to me. But that pretty much opened Pandora's box for me, and my battery's dying, darn it! Let me change my battery real quick. All right, we back in business. So like I said, that was like the first concert I ever went to on my own like choice. And I went with my best friend, and it literally opened Pandora's box for me. After that, I can't tell you what my next concert was, because in high school and college, it was nonstop. It was as often as I could go. Even if I didn't know what groups were playing, there was like certain venues in the area that I would just go to them, just to like hear bands play. I had the most obscure iTunes list ever, because I would find bands that no one had literally heard of because they were nobody. They were opening for these other bigger bands, and so I heard a lot of bands that like hadn't been like discovered really yet. A lot of local bands. There was a band called Vera from North Augusta, which played at a venue I went to a lot. I'm not sure if they're still together. They got signed. They got signed by a label when I was in college, I believe, like right at the beginning of college. I don't know if they're still together. I don't listen to them anymore. But like that was one of the groups. They were local, and they actually like did something, but I would see them all the time, because since they were local, they would play at venues in the area all the time, because obviously they were known there. So like that was who I was. I was literally going around to venues, constantly listening to bands that I didn't even know their music, and just discovering them that way. So I became a little obsessed. And I was definitely in high school more into almost shocking music, like music that when other people would listen to would get like a jolt from, like being like, what is this? Like, I remember Job for a Cowboy coming out, and like it's literally like, it sounds like pig squeals in some parts of it. And like Chelsea Grin and all of that. Like, I'm into like screamo music a little bit, but like that kind of music is almost shocking to people who aren't expecting it. And that's kind of what I was into. I was into like shock factor for music, because again, like I was a pain in the butt high school student, and that's what a lot of my music taste turned into, is shock value. And it wasn't towards like halfway through college where I like calmed down and started finding music that I related to a little bit. I know this is a little bit all over the place, but this was also like over a decade ago for me, so my memories are a little jumbled with some of this music and like my progression through music over the course of my life. I do remember this one time in high school, I had a huge CD collection, and one of my, I guess she was my friend, but I was a sophomore at the time and she was a junior, and I just thought she was so cool, and I like wanted to be like her. She was like in the like scene phase through and through, like had the piercings, had the look, and I wanted it. So I remember really wanting to be friends with this girl, so I let her borrow my Killers CD. It was hot. It was like the first Killer CD that came out. Those songs still play on the radio all the time too. But I remember I let her borrow it, And I have never been so upset to get a CD back, because when she gave it back to me, I will never forget it. It was covered in peanut butter. I am still to this day confused about what happened. Like, was she making a sandwich with my CD? I honestly don't know. I would not be able to tell you guys what happened to that CD. Still upsets me to this day. Will probably always upset me. Because that CD was also, it came back scratched, covered in peanut butter. Never let anyone borrow my CDs ever again. And I'm not even exaggerating. I never let anyone borrow my CDs after that. They would have to bring me a CD and I would burn it for them. But I never let them borrow my CDs anymore. I still have all of my CDs too. Like, they're in a box. Like, I have a huge box full of CDs, but like no one buys them anymore because like what's the point? So I am going to be going in with this. This is one of the ColourPop blush sticks. This is in the color Aloha, which I honestly just bought because I'm going to Hawaii in a couple months. Like, just being honest, that's why I bought the name, because I was like, oh, it says Aloha, I want it. But it is a really pretty color, and I love like the packaging on these. But I think I'm gonna warm it up on the back of my hand and then pick it up. But I just like the way these look because they're like glossy. Yeah. So I'm gonna just do that, and then I'm gonna use a brush. This Luxie Round Top Blender is like my favorite for cream blushes. Well, I might need more than that. That wasn't very much. Maybe I should have put it like directly on my skin, but I don't really want to do that. I like the way that looks. It's just a nice like flush. I don't really feel like wearing eye makeup today. Does anyone else ever have those days? I'm just gonna take this powder and I'm gonna buff it onto my lid so I don't get creases, but well, I already have creases, darn it. I just feel like kind of looking like fresh-faced today. So today I am gonna go see a movie with my aunt. I'm gonna be seeing Midsummer, and I'm confused about it. I'm interested to see. I've been reading a lot of like people's reviews of it, and a lot of people just seem kind of like confused about it. But we'll see how I feel. Me and her are gonna go see that in a couple hours. So I don't really feel like wearing a lot of makeup to the movie theater. I just want to eat some popcorn and watch an interesting movie and hang out with my fams. Getting back to music. So high school was interesting. I experimented like listening to a lot of like different types of music. And I mainly stayed in like the alternative. In high school I discovered Thrice, which is my favorite band still to this day. Still one of my favorite bands. I just recently saw them in San Diego, and I've seen them I think 5 times now. I love them. Thrice and Brand New were probably the 2 bands I will always go back to. They never get old to me, and Thrice is hands down my favorite. Actually, I just thought of this. If I can get it done in time, I will try to make a Spotify playlist for you guys, and I'll put it in the description down below. I think that would be a cool idea, so you can go and like listen to some of this music. I'll try and make a playlist of all kinds of like random music that I used to listen to, and like starting out at Backstreet Boys and going all the way into like stuff I listen to now, which honestly now, like I'm out of college, obviously I'm done with high school. I listen to a lot of the same stuff I listened to in high school and college, and I remember being in high school being like, old people are so boring because they just listen to the same music. Yeah, that's me. I listen to the same music now. Like, it's too much work to try and discover new bands all the time or like keep up with new music. I'm not gonna lie, sometimes I listen to the radio and I have no idea who's playing because I just don't listen to the radio. And I mean, maybe that's a bad thing. Actually, also I lied to you. I want to go in with this palette we got in BoxyCharm. This is the Butter London, I don't remember what it's called. It's a Butter London palette. I just want to take a little bit of this shade right here and just buff it on my lid a little bit just to give me a little something something, but I'm not going to do much. It's still like a no makeup look. Just want a little sparkle. But yeah, I pretty much haven't changed my music taste at all. But college was a good time. Like, I made a lot of friendships in college based on music as well. So it was kind of similar to high school, which I mean doesn't really surprise me because like people in college are pretty young. So like it doesn't really surprise me at all. But I made a lot of my friendships in college based on music, and me and my best friend, me and him still talk. Me and him bonded over music really well, and we still talk about music to this day. We send each other messages about concerts we're going to and all kinds of stuff, and me and him would get into some stuff. Like me, him, and his like girlfriend at the time would go to concerts. I remember we lived in South Carolina and there was a concert, and the closest it was coming to us was in Atlanta, and we got our butts done with our classes on the road to a concert, back, and then back to classes the next day. Because we were crazy. We drove, Atlanta was 4 hours away from us, and we drove that far to see a band because we wanted to and because they weren't going to be any closer to us. Like, that's the kind of like music junkies we were. We would drive for hours to see a group. Just putting on a little eyeliner right here. Just a little. Throw on a lip liner. That concert was really good too that we drove to Atlanta for. We drove all the way over there. I remember the band Thursday was playing, and it was a Thursday because I remember being very excited that we were seeing the band Thursday on a Thursday. By the way, I am going to be putting on the new Alamar lip gloss that came in my BoxyCharm. I'm really excited. Oh, it's like thicker than I was expecting. Honestly, I don't know if I like this formula. It's a little sticky. I don't like this, actually. Not right now. My lips are really dry, and I feel like this is like emphasizing how dry my lips are, and it's sticky, and I don't... Nope, I gotta wipe it off. I'm gonna be going in with the Dominique Cosmetics lip gloss instead. Ah, better. It's so much smoother. And I think last story I'm gonna tell you while I put on my mascara, which is, this is the Benefit Roller Lash, is the time I lost a shoe at a concert. So I went and saw Thrice and Brand New playing, and it was during Brand New's set. It wasn't really a mosh pit, because I mean Brand New's music isn't really warranted for a mosh pit, but like the middle of the crowd of course got like a little rowdy, and I freaking lost a shoe. My shoe disappeared. It came off my foot. Someone stood on my foot, my shoe came off, and then it got kicked into oblivion, and I never found it. Well, that's a lie. I couldn't find it while I was standing there. So I actually got out of the crowd because people kept standing on my foot. And I mean, notoriously, a lot of like Brand New fans are large, burly men with beards. So my foot being very exposed, I had to get out of the crowd. And I stood next to a trash can for the rest of their set. I mean, it was a great concert, and I was really excited to see them because I think that was the last time I was able to see Brand New before like they, you know, stopped touring for a while. So I was really excited that I got to see him. It was a really good concert, but dang it. So the show ends, my friends find me, because by the way, I was there with like 2 other people. I was there with my best guy friend, the one that I went to Atlanta with. I was there with him and his girlfriend, and I lost them during the show to begin with. So they found me at the end, like wondering where I was, and I just remember they looked down and they're like, why aren't you wearing a shoe? And they were like so confused. And I was like, guys, it got kicked off. Like, I'm gonna have to wait until everyone clears out of here and go find it. Like, and once the people got out of the floor area, we had to go back and look, and there was a guy looking around, and I guess he had lost something too, and he looks at me, he makes like direct eye contact, and he was like, hey, is this your shoe? And like holds up my shoe, which was like a red Van. Is one of the red like lace up Vans, and I just like looked at him and like looked down at my foot and was like, obviously. So he was actually very nice. I don't know why I was kind of rude to him, but strange boy with a backwards hat and a beard helped me find my shoe. Don't know what he was looking for because apparently I'm too much of a jerk and wouldn't help him, but stranger found my shoe. And that story likes to be circulated by my friends a lot about the time I was walking around a venue with just one shoe on. Honestly, no regrets. Alright guys, so this is it. This is going to be the entire Get Ready With Me. I know this is like really simple makeup. I'm gonna try and put a playlist together for you guys, and if you guys want to hear more, like that wasn't even close to all of my stories about music. It was just kind of a little like taste into it, and like a little bit of a progression into like what music was. I'm sure I'll talk about it in future videos. I'm sure I'll mention it, but I will try to get a playlist together for you guys. I don't know if I'll have it up when this video goes up, but I'll work on it. The way you guys can go listen to some of the music I listen to, and then that way I don't get copyrighted on this video, because I can't play music in this video, obviously. But thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up down below. Also, make sure to hit that subscribe button, and hopefully that means I see all of you guys in tomorrow's video. Bye!